Hey, what's happening, humans? How you doing? Okay, we are going live, and for some reason, I'm glitching. Like, there's a glitch in the system, and it's me. Lots going on because we are getting it going. Hi, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to Wednesday. It's Hump Day, and I need a cocktail. You? Cheers.
Cheers.
Ah, the clink of glasses. I think I cheers after. You know how I feel. I have to drink after a cheers.
Stevenson Interior says, "Hey Sandra."
Hello, darling. Oh my gosh, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long. Hi guys. So okay, it's an extra special hump day, and I'm gonna tell you why. Just a few seconds here. We are going to be joined by Desi Creswell, and you are going to be when you see there is my girl. Hello,
Here.
Desi. How are you?
Good. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Welcome to Design Sips. Our anything goes here, but cheers, whatever you've got happening to Wednesday.
Yes, that's right. It feels like it's probably Thursday, Friday-ish already with how much that has happened this week.
Yes, and I think we were just talking. I had a panel this morning, and we were talking about how it's like a humongous, weird black hole time warp. Like the hours go crazy fast, but I don't know. I can't figure it out. But like time doesn't exist anymore. It's all very
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it feels like that. I had to think what month it was today. I just thought, wait, where are we in space here?
It is just jamming. It's crazy. So, but we're gonna get to that because you kind of like you have a really nice method to lock it down and kind of tame time, which much needed at times like this.
It grounds me. It totally does. Mm-hmm.
Much needed. Awesome. So we got to say hi to our people out there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Design Sips. Send me a wave, a little heart to welcome Desi to Design Sips. Okay, so I wanted to start with telling them a little bit about you. So you are a certified coach who helps interior designers stop feeling overwhelmed, normal feeling for designers, so that they can intentionally create a thriving business and life. And we're going to talk a lot about like getting our schedules and what we need to get done under control today. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Wait.
So, okay, I'm going to jump in on some questions here.
Yeah.
Some things we have together. So tell me a bit about what, I know you were a designer, and like tell me a bit about your path and what makes you so incredibly brilliant when you are coaching designers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all started back when I got my first design job, and I was working for this really wonderful hospitality firm, and then I moved on to another firm that was really well known and doing all of these amazing projects, but also looking at senior people in the company and just saying, I don't really want your job eventually, because I just saw them I mean, I was constantly there working, a gazillion hours a week and not making any money doing it. And they were doing the same thing, except they were balancing a family with it on top of it. And so that's really when I started thinking about starting my own business. And I really, felt like that was going to be the ticket of like, I'll get to do design and I'll be able to balance like taking vacation when I want and being with my family that we were going to start. And, while in some regards that was true, what kind of happened was I started becoming my own taskmaster. And it was just like constantly, it was never enough, right? Like I just always felt behind. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I was doing a bad job doing both roles, the mom thing and the work thing.
Well, and not only the mom thing and the work thing, but the mom thing, the work thing, the lead person who was going to get the clients thing, and the person who was doing the work thing. Like you take both of those roles too early on in the business.
Yeah, totally. And and I felt like when we had our first child, I ended up taking him to like site visits in his little bucket carrier because I did not have any clue how tough that would be. And so then the second time around, I totally pulled back on my business and I was like, I'm not taking on anything. year into that, I'm like getting the itch. I really want to get back to work, but I'm like, I can't do it the same way. And that's really when I found coaching for myself and hired my first coach and started seeing the incredible changes I was able to make in my own life, and really wanted to be that person that I could have potentially hired, you know, back when I really needed the help. And so that's why now I blend all of what I've learned of years in business for myself with the mindset components that I've learned through my own self-development, working with clients, and of course my coach certification through the Life Coach School.
Awesome. So good. Well, so obviously I am familiar with your work, and I have had experience like listening to you on podcasts and speaking with you. And I was literally, so I heard you the first time on Luann's podcast, A Well-Designed Business, right? And I was blown away. I think it was Delete, Delegate. Wait, what's the next one? You have to tell us that.
No,
Delete, Delegate.
They're out of order.
Oh, wait, sorry. Is it dump,
Gosh,
delete,
now
delegate?
you
Okay, we're going to think of it.
Delete, delegate.
I got you
yeah.
off guard. But it was this idea of brain dumping.
Yes.
Deleting what's not necessary at all. Oh, delete, delegate, automate.
Automate, yes.
I was like, I'm committing it to memory because I feel like you kind of had it locked down. And it's something that we do all the time. We do this once a year, this huge, like, okay, all the ideas that we've been just coming out, because we're idea factories. We're designers.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what we are.
Our greatest asset is our greatest downfall.
Exactly. So we try to get all those ideas out, and then we do like a lot of analysis around like, okay, what one new thing, what initiative are we going to actually move forward this coming year? You know, what is our like big goal for the coming year? And it's a big process of delete or push out, or like put it on the 5-year, 3-year, or 10-year plan. But I love in the day-to-day, there's a lot of delete. There's a lot that just doesn't need to happen. It's a nice to have, not a need to have at all. So
yeah,
that was the one that
even you could look at it from a big picture task perspective of like, do I need to even do this task? But then I think it's fun to kind of look at it too of, okay, so for the repeatable tasks that you do in your business, are there additional steps in there that you could even delete that would save you time?
Right. And some of the little examples of things that we just totally deleted was like, we were on kind of every social platform for a little while, and we just realized that it's totally to spend that much time connected to your phone. So we really like analyze, where do we find joy? Where do we have community? Where can we just say we're out? Like, we're just not gonna, you know, try to be everywhere and be everything to everybody. And so those are good ones, because no one knows you've left, like you're not missed there. But to drive more intention to the ones that you stay on is
And I love that you take the time to analyze it, because that's a piece that I see missing so often, is that we're in such a rush to just even implement these things. So then it's like, finally we get it up and running, but we're so busy trying to keep up with the Instagram posts or whatever that then we never even look at, is this time well spent, and is it providing some type of return?
Definitely. And I got caught in that hamster wheel early in COVID. I was in you know, like, it was such a beautiful thing because there were so many communities developing within, you know, all these little areas, like these little get-togethers, these little groups, whatever. But I got into this, like, oh, you have to post every day. Oh, you have to like follow and comment on, you know, this little tribe stuff to help to boost this and that. And I'm like, and it's not doing anything. It's not moving me towards a paying client whatsoever. You know, it might be making my stats look a little bit more fluffy, but to what end? It's totally irrelevant, right?
Yes, it is. So I love
so
that you are.
we all get caught up in it sometimes, and then you have to come back and go, is this effective, or is this spinning my wheels for?
And I mean, it's really a continual process, because something right now that you're doing could be working really well, but 6 months from now it becomes a delete because it's no longer producing those results. So it's something that, it's not like you do this once and then you set it and forget it. It's a continual process.
Definitely. Absolutely. Always gotta get it all out on the board and start chopping away at it. And
Yeah,
I love nothing more than delegating. It really is one of my passions. So,
me too.
yeah. So looking at, not only could someone else do this, but could someone do it better? Because it's their superpower and it's just not mine.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. So and then automate, forget it. Like that thrills me to death. Just to make things super, super easy. Again, repeatable tasks, technology. I can't figure out a reason why you wouldn't. So we have our fingers in all the bells and whistles whenever we can, and we're constantly listening to find out if somebody else has got another little trick or tip.
Oh, absolutely. You have to take advantage of it, and then delegate the tech implementation.
Obviously.
Obviously.
I love that. I love that so much. All right. So we were really wanting to delve in because you have this incredible gift for our audience today, right? You have this.
Yes.
Tell me what this is so that, because I kind of went down a rabbit hole with it, but I want everyone else to understand.
Okay. Well, it's called the Interior Designer's Get It Done Daily Planner. And it is your resource for getting more done in the day and actually taking measurable steps towards what you want to accomplish from a day-to-day perspective, but then also tying that back to your overarching goals for your business. And it is the way that I go about my day, and it's the way I get so much done, and also don't feel stressed about it, because it's an important blend, as everything that I do, of the strategy of time management, grouping items together for efficiency, but there's also definitely the mindset component that I have woven in throughout the planner, because without that, in my opinion, you really you can white knuckle it with your planner for only so long. And so that's why I build in questions to increase your commitment to your tasks, to tie what you're doing daily back to the overall goals that you want to reach in your life and business. And so it's really a blend of the two, and it's got all the instructions in there and an actual scheduling page and the worksheets that you can print off and have at your desk and use daily.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Can we just give a little cheers, everyone? What Desi just said. Questions to make you further your commitment to moving your tasks forward. Cheers. Cheers. Because it's that same old, it's that beautiful, beautiful adage, and I'm going to forget who said it. Start with why, right? It's you have to have your motivation at the front of your mind in order to keep that focus. So yeah, I think that's brilliant. It's funny. I love your planner, and I'm going to completely dive into using it. Early in COVID, I went back. I have a timesheet that I always keep on my desk, because I feel like I kind of jot down all the appointments I have throughout the day. And then I made this big edit at the beginning of COVID. I wanted to have room for my top 3 priorities for the day on the sheet. And then a couple weeks later or days later, who knows, there's no such thing as time, I added my mission statement across the top, because I really felt like I get interrupted 57,000 times a day with my kids, right? So I can batch almost anything, but I can't batch parenting, right? In the middle of COVID and in the summertime with no camps open. So I can't tell them to not come and get me when they need me, right? So it just keeps me in the ability to come back to work quickly is a skill that you need in times like this. And certainly with my team, we've done a really good job of having top line meetings and having, times when they can get to me that are batched per the day, so that I'm not constantly being interrupted by them. But there's no batching your children. So
there's not.
Yeah. And so this is a totally different gig. So this has been a really good way for me to come back to it and jump back in pretty quick.
Yeah.
The other tip I had no idea was going to be so big was having a standing desk. It's so crazy how quickly I can walk back behind my computer and put my hands on the keyboard and be back at work, versus get into my chair, get my coffee, scooch up, there's just something very terminal-like about it, where you just jump right in.
That's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah. So that in my little focus sheet has been trying to help me. And because there's no such thing as time, it's like I keep setting alarms too. Like I've got to take my kid to swim practice, you know, and if I don't set an alarm, it's just hours go by. It's such a vacuum. It's really
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that's in the guide is setting your work hours. And I think, I mean, that is really important in general, but I think that that's even more important right now where there is that fluidity where you may not leave your house all day. And because otherwise work just starts to bleed into every last piece because it is so easy to go to your desk and just pop down. And before you know, it's a half hour later. And, you know, so that's something that I really encourage everyone to do is say when you're starting, when you're finishing, and really try and adhere to that.
and sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things that I've heard you say and I love was, yeah, no, at 9 a.m. on Monday when your calendar says review accounting, you're not going to want to.
No,
but you have to make yourself just suck it up and push it out. And I love that. It's one thing if it's just on your to-do list and it's just kind of getting scooched, but if it's on your calendar and you just say it's 15 minutes, get it over, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oftentimes, I mean, the thinking about it, both leading up to the task and then all the thinking you do once you don't do the task and beating yourself up about it, that's way worse than actually just sitting down and doing your accounting for 15 minutes.
Oh, all the emotional strain of it. And then also for me, when I'm not like really being good about it, it's how much time can you spend rearranging your tasks and priorities and all of that. So I love that this cuts through that mud really, really quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So what about task management brings you joy?
The freedom it gives me. Yes. That is the greatest joy, I would say. The freedom to know that I have my bases covered, that things are going to get done. And then, you know, that allows me more freedom when I'm not working because I'm not constantly worried about what I haven't done or what I potentially need to get done because it's all in one place. I have a plan for doing it. And it's like, I literally feel like I just take it out of my brain and I set it aside.
I love that.
And there's, I mean, I think that's priceless, personally.
It's totally priceless. Like designers, I would like a cheers and a heart. If you wish, you look at those people who have that kind of job where when they're not at work, they're not at work and they don't have another thought about it. And like that envy of like, and then you're just done and it's not weighing on you and you don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. Like it's just very freeing. So when you're saying you can schedule it and you can block it and time manage it so that you give yourself the freedom of that mental headspace.
Yeah, and it's like all the different things I can do with that mental headspace, whether it's I decide I want to work more and create some new project for my clients or new resource, or it's like I want to spend even a half hour just reading a book or whatever it is, right? Like when you know you've got everything kind of in place, then you can go on and really enjoy your free time.
Yes. Well, I can tell you the difference between my business in the very early years and then later on in life when things were systematized and organized is tenfold because I was regularly working until 1 a.m. I mean, regularly when it was early on and it was just hamster wheel, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why the automate part of your little 3-prong program, I was like, oh, yes, because that just, you know, you have to start to figure out how to get really efficient because it's not a humongous business. I'm not going to have 30 people on staff, you know, I'm going to need to figure out systems and tasks and delete is huge because we could all go down the rabbit hole of doing all the things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And really
I think the other thing I think when people are looking at starting to do some sort of task management, which I think sounds so not fun, but also like besides the freedom it gives you, it's also just even making your day more easeful. When you sit down to work, you know exactly what you're going to do as opposed to, you know, because like you give the example of you can just pop over to your desk, you've got your list of priorities. It's like, okay, I can grab one of these things and work on it. As opposed to you go to your desk, you got to shuffle through some papers, figure out, oh, I've got these 5 different things to choose from. Which one should I start first? Where do I start? And so just creating more ease in your day too, I think is huge.
Yeah, and the mental battle of which one of these is more important, which should I do first, which do I like to do, which would I rather ignore? Just all of that time is time. It just adds up.
And it's exhausting too.
Yes.
It's just mentally exhausting.
Very, very much so. Okay. Awesome. All right. So I would love to ask, I want to find out about your 3 questions designers should ask themselves after writing down all their tasks. Oh, is that what I just did? The deleting? Why is it important to ask ourselves these 3 questions and what's the benefit? Is that our, did I talk in circles? I apologize.
No, I think, I think it goes back to that priorities of like identifying the priorities. I think is really important to actually write them out, because oftentimes all the things that come on our to-do list aren't actually priorities. They're just random like administrative tasks, and maybe they need to get done, but then we look at it, of course, through that delegate lens. But it's important to go, okay, so what's actually going to move the needle forward in my business, as opposed to what's going to give me a quick check off the box. And so that's why I like them to identify those priorities. And then, also taking a look at how those priorities then contribute to the overall success of your business. So it's tying it back to what is it that you ultimately envision for your business and for yourself personally, and how do those priorities support that vision? Because if they don't support the vision, then you need to revisit the priorities. So it's kind of like a double check there. And then the third question is really, why am I going to honor this commitment even when I don't feel like it? Because like you said, you're not going to feel like it. I like to tell people, just plan on not wanting to do what's on your calendar, because you probably won't. And I think the really important thing here is that you're using your future self as like, this is your more evolved part of your brain. And you're planning, right? As a human, that's a unique ability we have, is to think about our thinking and plan ahead. And so at some point you thought it was a really good idea to put that task on your to-do list because you had that end result in mind that you wanted. And so, but then of course, the primitive part of your brain, when you show up to do the task, is looking for immediate pleasure and wants to escape anything hard. And so that's when we can use that commitment to counteract the impulsivity that we have to like go do the quick task or the easy task or the fun task. And so it's kind of working to support your brain and the brain's natural tendencies so that you could stay on track.
I love it. You've got it. You've gamed the system.
Yep.
Of our brain.
Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome.
I'm always trying to do that.
So talk to me about, do you work with clients on setting those priorities and helping them like kind of weed through and do that analysis?
Yes, most definitely. Yep. And one of the things that I really like to do is start off with defining your business and life vision and how those all support each other and how they weave together, because then it becomes very clear what those priorities are. Whether it's, that you want to be done for sure at 3 p.m. because you want to be there for school pickup when we have school again. And, or if it's like you want to be, published and well-known for a certain type of style. It's very different for every person that I work with. The majority of my clients do really value that work-life blend. And so that becomes a part of it. But yeah, we take a look at what are you wanting to create, and then we figure out what those priorities are that are going to support it.
Awesome. Can you, designers out there, can you just imagine having someone just giving you that ear, right? And then also that strategic vision of, then taking it and making a plan to execute.
Yeah, and I think just even having the space to think about what you want your future to be like is incredibly valuable as a starting point. Even, if, you take one thing away from this today at the design sips, like take a minute and picture yourself a year from now and start to let yourself dream what you want you 1 year from now to look like. Because we're so caught up in the busy day to day that we often don't even catch a breath to think about where am I heading. And if you don't have that direction set, you're going to be wandering.
Definitely,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. And I always say to the designers that work with me in the standard, you know, I love kind of that example of, listen, Walmart doesn't go out and do like a really good job being Walmart and then upgrade to J. Crew and then like ace being J. Crew and
Yeah.
then become Chanel.
Oh, I love
That's
that
not how it
analogy.
happens,
Yes,
right?
that's so great.
Like
Yeah.
J. Crew set out to be J. Crew, Chanel set out to be Chanel, and Walmart set out to be Walmart. So I think I love that concept of if you're just spinning in the weeds and you don't have you don't know where you're headed, you'll stay right there in those weeds.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ties back to another concept that I work with this scheduling component is designing your business as if you've already achieved what you want to achieve. Because just like with the example with J. Crew, you need to be headed towards being J. Crew and embodying J. Crew along the way. It's the same thing. We often think, well, once I hit this level of success or make this amount of money or whatever, then I'll finally get my schedule under control and I won't work so hard and I'll be home in the evening to have dinner.
Right.
And what happens is you haven't been practicing that all along. And then you get to that point and you're like, oh,
yep,
here is not better, any
well,
better
and
than
also, yeah, and if you've designed a life that has you, like I was on the path of being up until 1 a.m. all the time, well, then we had kids and I couldn't be up until 1 a.m. working because I had to be up at 1, 3, 5,
yeah.
7.
Right.
So
yeah.
no, I couldn't do that anymore. No, and it's always about working smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, and letting our brilliance be our design ability and not just like only gusto, only hard work ethic, but like it's about taking those strategic leaps instead of just pushing that boulder up the hill.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And ultimately, I mean, I think we're taught that like we need to have that grunt and hard work of pushing the boulder. And that is actually going to be much slower progress, but it's very counterintuitive to what we're taught.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm from Michigan. Like good old fashioned hard work is going to do everything. But you know, there's a different mindset. You know, and kind of that idea too is if you're always working until 1 a.m. and you're just grinding it out, it's really hard to make the argument that it's time to grow the team because if it's all getting done, even though it's at your personal expense, it's hard to to go to investors or business partners or even just have that counsel with yourself if you're a sole proprietor to say it's time, I need help, I need, it's boundaries. I hear like that's what is so important, right? Having some work-life balance.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think it's balance. I think it's, juggling because it's just shifting under our feet. But it's about staying nimble with it.
Oh yeah. I don't think there is anything that's true about the word balance because balance really implies that there is this stagnation of, there's equal weight, which is never equal. And also that it's this stationary point that we then set. And that's not true either because as we move through life, we have different priorities, different, demands on our time. And so it's that constant shift that you're keeping an eye on.
Yeah, awesome. So tell me what does it look like to work with you? Or is it a weekly meeting? Is it a monthly? Like, how do you typically like to work with designers?
Well, there's 2 ways to work with me. I do one-on-one coaching in my Design to Thrive coaching partnerships. And that's an opportunity to work within my framework, but also have a totally customized experience for yourself. And again, looking at that business life vision, figuring out what your goals are, working towards exactly what you need. So those are really tailored to the individual client. And we meet on a weekly basis over Zoom. So I work with designers all over the country, which is really fun. And and then lots of support in between sessions as well, because I think it's so important that we build that momentum and also give my clients the opportunity to create that success for themselves, not just when they're face to face with me, because ultimately that's what really serves them in the long run is building those skills of figuring things out, strengthening their commitment, developing the skill of self-accountability. And so I love the way that I structure that for that reason. And then in August, I'm actually starting a group program called Out of Overwhelm, which has been really fun. I've got some great designers in there already, and we're going to be going through all of the topics that you need to get out of overwhelm. So it's going to be, you know, stuff like we've been talking about here, also just things like people pleasing, saying no, all the different aspects that kind of tie into this feeling of overwhelm, and also talking about overwhelm as a feeling and how to manage that, because there's constantly going to be different things thrown our way. And so depending on how we think about what our circumstances are, we can have a very different experience. So there's definitely mindset thrown in there, as you would expect.
Awesome. So good. I think that's just incredible. The idea that you could have like the group and or the totally customized is wonderful. And I think anyone working with a coach knows that it is a humongous catapult forward to have another set of eyes, especially our industry is so full of solo entrepreneurs, right? So we desperately need to make sure that we are keeping another set of eyes on it, having a sounding board, and really someone who's strategic and a big thinker like you, and also down to the details. Like, again, keeping this daily planner. You guys have to go and download it and check it out. It is truly incredible. I kind of like haphazardly put together like a tiny version for myself with my little 3 things I need done in my mission statement. Desi's kicked my butt. She's got all the things going on. I love that you are working with mindset on their commitment to their growth and setting goals. And I do think everyone out there in Design Sips world, I think you all know where to turn right now if you need to have that strategic one-on-one to really figure out what's next. So
yeah, and all of my design partnerships do start with a complimentary consultation, and that's really where we can assess where you are, where you want to go, and then look at the steps to get you there, and also just see if it's a good fit. And then, you know, we can talk about working together after we sort of do that initial process and assessment.
Awesome. So good. So I assume you've been doing Zoom across the country all along. So this whole has been
no big deal.
Bueno. Good for you. Good for you. That's
awesome. I was made for COVID.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm a secret introvert, so this whole not going out to cocktail parties is fine by me. I do miss there are many things that I miss, but this I'm not so bad with the staying inside thing. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna give you guys some Sarah, do you have any comments, questions, anything we need to answer?
People are loving what you guys are saying.
All right, good.
I totally relate.
Good. That's my people. All right. Yeah. Everyone, if you haven't done it yet, please check out Desi's Daily Planner. I'm going to have you tell us, Desi, where they can find that.
Sure. Yeah, it's www.desicreswell.com/daily planner, and it'll get sent straight to your inbox, and you can start using it immediately.
Awesome. And again, you guys, once you dig into that planner, if you need help with the strategic vision so that you can stay on point, reach out to Desi. She's got a million more things that she can do to help you get that settled and figured out. And of course, thank you for having us today and for joining us, all of you Design Sips people.
Thank you. This was such a fun conversation.
Thank you so much, Desi. This has been incredible. And like I said, I just totally went down the rabbit hole of the whole idea of delete, delegate, automate. I was like, oh, that's everything. It's like the business owner's guide to life, essentially.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'd love to hear that. That makes me so happy, because it is such a joy to see other people using the tools and taking them on as their own, and then just creating incredible results.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, and that method that alone is a huge catapult forward, to just get it all out of your head and then make a plan for how to get it all done.
Yeah. And I've actually got a blog post on that on my website. So if people go over there and they want to try that out on their own, that's a great place to start.
Oh, it's great. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for watching today. Again, I'm Sandra Funk. This is Design Sips. You can find out tons and tons more at houseoffunk.com/trade. All right, y'all. Happy hump day. Good luck to you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Desi. Have a great one.
You too.